It was exactly 2:41 p.m. on a Thursday when the shift in my life began. Not with a scream or a crash, but with a laugh. That's what I remember. A laugh. It was not mine. I was working from home that day, unexpected. My meeting with a client had been moved last minute to Zoom, and I decided to take it from the downstairs office instead of my usual co-working space. Emily did not know I was home, or maybe she forgot. Either way, that laugh, short, sharp, not hers, floated down the hallway like an accidental thread in a sweater, pulling everything loose. I froze mid-sentence while on a call, my eyes drawn toward the thin crack under the guest room door, where light flickered unnaturally. We do not use that room. I ended the call mid-conversation, did not even say goodbye. Just closed my laptop and stood up. I took 3 steps and then stopped. Everything about those steps felt unreal, like I was an actor walking on a stage I did not audition for. My heartbeat was not racing. That's the strange part. It was slow, precise. I pushed the guest room door open with 2 fingers. Quiet. No sound inside. The light was coming from a phone on the bed, hers. Her phone was sitting there with the screen still unlocked. Not a sound in the room otherwise. But the window was open. Emily had left her phone. That alone told me something was off. Her phone was like an extra limb. It was never more than a few feet from her. I picked it up. The home screen was full of notifications. Nothing strange at first. Just the usual. Missed calls, a couple of emails. But one thread in particular kept lighting up the top. A messaging app one did not even know she had installed. One that did not belong on her phone. Not unless she was hiding something. She was. I opened the thread. The name at the top was saved as D. The conversation went back months. Months. There was nothing explicit in the texts. Not in a way that could get her in trouble with anyone else. But between the lines it was screaming. Details, times, little private jokes. Comments that dripped with implication. And then one message hit me differently. Parking lot. 230 sharp. Do not wear perfume. Hello no. I looked at the clock. 248. I stepped away from the door, turned and walked straight out of the house. I was not thinking. I was not planning. I was just moving. Instinct or something even colder than that. I got into the car, started it and drove. I did not even grab my wallet. I did not care. I took the side streets to the shopping plaza just 10 minutes away. I was not even sure what I expected to find. But I found it. Her car parked by the far fence where nobody ever parks unless they do not want to be seen. And her standing by the passenger side door and a man about my height, dark blue shirt, khakis, leaning against the car, arms crossed, looking at her like he already owned her. She was laughing again. That same damn laugh. Not the fake one she used with my mother or the polite one at dinner parties. This one was real. That's how I knew. She had not looked at me like that in over a year. I parked behind the hardware store and walked up behind them without a sound. 30 feet, 10. She did not even notice me. She was too caught up. Then the man, this D, put a hand on her neck soft like they'd done it 1,000 times. She closed her eyes. I said her name once, not loud, not angry, just a single note, like the strike of a bell. She froze. He pulled his hand back. And then she turned. Her face did not go pale. She did not gasp. No guilt. Just annoyance. Like I'd interrupted something minor. Like I was a speed bump in her afternoon. She said my name the way someone says, "What are you doing here?" to a stranger who spilled coffee on them. And then she smiled. That smile. I will never forget it. Cold, not embarrassed, not afraid. She did not run to explain. She did not cry. She did not beg. She looked me up and down like I was the one cheating and then said, "Well, this is awkward." That was her first sentence. Not an apology. Not even a lie. Just "this is awkward." He did not say anything. He just nodded like he'd been expecting this eventually. She looked back at him and said, "Give me a second." Like she was brushing her teeth or grabbing her purse. "Just give her a second." She walked over to me, heel to toe on the pavement, like nothing mattered. And then she whispered, low so only I could hear, "If you make a scene, I swear to God I'll make you regret it." Like I was the one who done something wrong. I did not make a scene. I did not raise my voice. I just asked one question. How long? She did not flinch. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Does it matter?" That was the moment. The switch, the instant when my hands did not ball into fists, when my heart did not race. It just stopped needing her. I nodded once. Just once. She looked confused. That's what threw her. I said nothing else. I turned around and walked away. I did not go home. I did not call a friend. I did not even know where I was driving. By 6 p.m., I was gone. Not dead. Not missing in the criminal sense. Just gone. No one saw me after that. Not Emily. Not my coworkers. Not my family. Not even Max. And the truth is, I did not vanish because of what she did. I vanished because of how little she cared that I knew. The first night away, I slept in the back seat of my car in a parking garage downtown. I turned off my phone, left it on the passenger seat, screen face down like it was ashamed. I watched the concrete beams overhead like they were constellations. That silence, the kind that fills your skull when everything familiar is suddenly gone. It's not peace. This noise without sound. My body felt electric but useless. I was not crying. I was not angry. I was not anything. Just floating. I stayed off the grid. No credit card. I paid for gas with crumpled bills from my gym bag. Ate whatever I could buy in cash. I did not even have a plan, just movement. Each mile was a sentence I did not have to say. The less I spoke, the more I felt something shifting inside me, not healing, just rearranging. Day 3, I parked at a rest stop near the state line and watched people live their lives. A father shouting at his son for dropping ice cream. A woman putting makeup on in her rear-view mirror. All of them so sure about where they were headed. I envied them not because their lives were perfect, but because they were still in them. I had stepped out of mine like it was a burning building. That's when Emily texted. 10 times in a row. "Where are you? You see, not just disappear. This is not fair to me. You do not get to ghost your own life. We need to talk." Each one more infuriated than the last. No guilt. No remorse. Just irritation. Like I was late to dinner. She did not even ask if I was okay. Just demanded I show up for a conversation I had zero interest in having. Message 11 hit different. "If you do not come home tonight, I'm telling people you've lost it. Do not test me." That one stayed. She was already rewiring the narrative, making herself the victim and me, the crazy husband who cracked. She knew exactly how to frame it. I could hear her voice in my head, explaining to her co-workers how I'd been off for a while. He's just not stable lately. The stress got to him. He needs help. It was not just betrayal anymore. It was strategy. I drove back into town the next night, not to see her, to see him. I'd done my research. D was not just some random fling. His name was Daniel Carter, married to kids, real estate agent, public photos on his office website, happy family included. There was a review online of him from me 2 years ago. I'd met him before. I did not remember him, but he remembered me clearly. I did not confront him. Not yet. I wanted to know how deep this thing went. And you'd be amazed how much a person gives away if you just sit outside their office for 2 hours. I watched Daniel exit at 512, hop into his car, and drive to a gym across town. Same gym Emily had joined 6 months ago. That health kick she was on suddenly made more sense. I followed him not to hurt him. I was not there for revenge. I was not even sure what I was doing. But watching him on that treadmill, headphones in, wiping sweat from his forehead like a man without a care in the world, it made something inside me crack open. It was not about the betrayal, not anymore. It was about the absolute deliberate comfort they had in their lie, their routine, their timing, the way they'd clearly done this dance so many times that it no longer felt like sin. Just scheduling. I did not confront him. I just waited until he left. Then followed again. Back to the same parking lot. Back to her. Again. Same time. Same spot. Same everything. They did not even see me. Not until I walked right up to the car and knocked on the passenger window. She jumped. He flinched. I did not flinch. She stepped out like she was going to say something clever. I raised a hand before she spoke. No more lines. I said, no more of the script you've been reading from. Just answer one question. She folded her arms. Fine. Were you ever going to stop? She smiled, almost laughed. Stop what? You already left. It was the truth. The bare bitter truth. I had left, and she was never going to stop because for her, there was nothing to stop. No regret. No internal war. Just open space where a conscience should be. Daniel tried to speak. I did not let him. Do not talk to me, I said without looking at him. You're not even part of this. You're just a symptom. Emily stepped closer. That same practiced charm turning her eyes into weapons. You think disappearing makes you powerful, Mark? You think silence is noble? You're just proving everyone right. You always fold when things get hard. That was it. Not the cheating. Not the lying. Not even the gaslighting. It was the way she looked me in the eye and genuinely believed that I was the weak one. I turned around and walked away. Again. But this time I was not vanishing. I was building something. The version of me that comes back. He does not fold. He burns that I did not go back to my old life. I built a new one out of everything she could not touch. For the next 2 weeks, I stayed in a cheap motel 2 towns over. Cash only. Room 206. The walls smelled like bleach and bad memories. But it was quiet. Quiet in a way that let me listen to myself again. No lies bouncing off the walls. No fake morning kisses. No pretending not to see what was there. Just the hum of the AC and the slow stitching of clarity pulling through my skin. I watched her from a distance. Not obsessively, not emotionally. Strategically, I needed to know who I'd really married, not the mask, but the machinery underneath. Her routine was almost beautiful in its predictability. She adjusted nothing. Did not even flinch when I disappeared. Morning smoothie runs. Midday Pilates. Work from home. Though now she made it a point to leave the house in the afternoons for errands, always around 2:30, always back by 4. She was not hiding the affair. She was owning it. I kept a journal. Not for the sake of therapy. I do not believe in writing my pain into poems, but to document her patterns, times, places, phone calls. I had a spreadsheet of their affair that looked more organized than our wedding planning folder. Something about putting it on paper stripped the poison out of it, made it math. Then I started talking to people. Not about her, about me, my old friend Jonah, who I had not seen since the wedding. He owned a small co-working space downtown. Let me crash in one of the empty units for a few days. No questions. No, Pete, just a nod. Whatever it is, he said, handle it clean, clean. That word hit different. I had not been thinking about clean. I'd been thinking about loud about walking into her next meetup with Daniel and slapping the reality out of both of them, about exposing her at the next dinner party, about forwarding her messages to everyone in her contact list. But then Jonah's words kept ringing. Handle it clean. So I made a plan. The day I went back to the house, I did not knock. I had a key. My house, my name still on the deed. Emily was not home. Of course not. It was 245. I knew exactly where she was. I moved quickly, picked up the things that were mine, not just legally, but spiritually. I did not touch anything we bought together. I left behind the couch, the bed, even the art I'd picked out. I did not want a single thing that held her fingerprints. Only the old things, my books, my grandfather's watch, the photo album of my parents. I loaded the car with calm surgical detachment. Then I sat at the kitchen table and waited. She walked in at exactly 358 sunglasses. Hair windswept. Same smug calm she had since I caught her. She stopped short when she saw me, not because she was scared, but because she did not expect me to look so still. I did not speak first. I waited. She set her keys down slowly, like we were about to play chess. Back already? She said, walking toward the fridge. You could have texted. I did not answer. She pulled out a bottle of water, unscrewed the cap, drank like she just run a marathon. Then she leaned against the counter. You not going to talk to me? She asked. Really? I nodded at the seat across from me. Seat. She raised an eyebrow. Why? Because we re-ending this. I said today, she said. Her eyes flickered for a second, not fear, calculation. You think you get to decide that? I took a folder from my bag, laid it flat on the table. She did not reach for it. What's that? Proof. She scoffed. Of what? You already know. Not for me. For the people you're about to lie to. That stopped her. She opened it. Inside screenshots, printouts, phone records, dates, GPS pings, all cross-referenced, all dated, cold, organized, sharp. She did not speak for a full minute. Then she closed the folder. You went through all this trouble for what? To make me look bad. No, I said, to make you visible. She looked at me like she wanted to scream, but could not find the pitch. You always thought I was weak, I said, because I did not fight back the way you expected. You thought disappearing was cowardice. It was, she snapped. No, I said, it was restraint. Her voice dropped. You think anyone cares about your little folder? People cheap. It happens. Grow up. I smiled. That's the difference between us, Emily. You think this was ever about the cheating? She did not respond. I stood up, took the folder, placed it back in the bag, slid my wedding ring across the table. It made a small metallic sound, a sound that said more than anything else in that kitchen. Then I walked out. She did not follow. She did not yell. She just let me go. Because deep down, she knew this version of me, the one walking out without rage or chaos, that version was done. And done men do not look back. The divorce papers were delivered on a Monday. Emily signed them on a Wednesday. No hesitation. No call. No dramatic doorstep scene. Just a notification from my lawyer that she signed. No requests. No contest. She did not want to fight. She wanted freedom. The freedom to rewrite the narrative before I did. What she did not know was that I'd already started writing mine. 2 days before the papers were sent, I made 6 USB drives. On each, I loaded every shred of evidence I had. Dates, texts, videos, timestamps, and a document outlining the full timeline of her affair with Daniel Carter. I made it clinical. No emotions. Just fact. A clean record of what really happened in a format no one could twist. One went to her boss. One to Daniel's wife. One to my lawyer. One to our mutual friend Chloe. The one who always took Emily's side. One to my own mother because I knew she'd get the full story either way. And the last one, I mailed it to Emily with no return address. Just a single typed sentence on the envelope. Tell it however you want. I already told it better. The fallout was quiet at first. Daniel's wife, Claire, called me the night she opened her copy. She did not cry. Did not scream. Just asked one question. Do you think they ever actually cared? I told her the truth. They cared that they could get away with it. Then she said thank you and hung up. Emily did not reach out. Not after the folder. Not after the drives. Not even when Daniel's name disappeared from his agency's website 3 days later. She was playing defense now. I could almost see it. Her sitting in the kitchen, hands wrapped around a glass of wine, planning her next move. But there were no moves left. She'd used up all her pieces. Kept my head down. Got a new apartment. Small place. Clean lines. Second floor overlooking a park where I could walk without being recognized. I bought furniture one piece at a time on purpose. I wanted to earn every inch of this new life. Nothing shared. Nothing borrowed. No memories I did not own. 3 weeks in, I got an email. Subject line: "We need to talk." No name. But I knew it was her. I did not respond. 2 days later, another one. This time no subject. Just, "You really doing this?" Still no reply. Then came the third. It was not a question. It was not angry. It was a single line. "You were not supposed to actually leave." That S when I knew she never thought I could. She thought I was bound to her in that way some men get bound by guilt, by history, by habit. She thought I'd deorbit her forever. No matter how far she pushed me out. Her betrayal was not the weapon. It was the test. And she failed to see that some men, when broken, do not just limp away. They vanish. Not in smoke. Not in rage. In silence. Because silence is the one thing you see and not argue with. I was not trying to haunt her. I was not trying to make her regret it. I was becoming a ghost in her story. A chapter she see not edit, erase, or explain. And every time someone asks her what really happened with Mark, she has to pick, lie and risk being exposed again, or tell the truth and watch herself unravel. Either way, she lost the only thing that ever gave her control. Me. Claire, the wife of the man Emily ruined everything with, called again. It was a Saturday. I was eating cold noodles straight from the carton. The TV on but muted. I let the call ring 4 times before answering. Not because I did not want to talk. I just did not want to sound too eager. She had a voice like she'd been quiet too long. Like words were knives she'd finally sharpened. She did not say hi. She said he told me it was over with her. I leaned back in the chair and said nothing. There was more. He.'s sleeping in the guest room, keeps asking what he can do to fix it, says he was not in love, says it did not mean anything. I exhaled, not out of sympathy. Just recognition. That line again. It did not mean anything. She continued. I told him I read every message, every picture, every plan. You know what he said, what that he was bored, just bored. That word did something to me. Bored. All this destruction, all the lies for boredom. It was not even passion or obsession or some romanticized failure of judgment. It was just emotional laziness dressed up like fate. Claire laughed, bitter and hollow. I told him boredom is for cowards. You either fix the life you have or leave it. You do not burn it down because you're too weak to renovate. I liked her. I told her that she changed the subject. Emily's reaching out to people, friends, neighbors. She's saying you ran, that you could not handle her independence, that you were unstable. I was not surprised. This was the Emily I'd learned to expect. Not the girl from our first year, not the woman in our wedding photos, but the creature that bloomed behind my back. Slick with charm and venom. She'd never take responsibility. She just build a new reality and dare the world to question it. Claire hesitated. You want to know what she told me? After she found out I knew, I waited. She said I just wanted to feel wanted again. He used to want me. Mark stopped seeing me. My mouth went dry. That sentence, those words, that poisonous deflection. It was not what she did. It was that even now her only defense was making me the reason she betrayed us. Claire was quiet, but not done. I think she's unraveling. I think she thought you'd come back. I nodded, knowing she could not see it. I think she always did this with the parachute already packed. Claire laughed again. This time, it was not bitter. It was dark, quiet respect. She underestimated the silence. We spoke for another 15 minutes, not about them, but about us. The aftermath. The stupid questions people ask when they hear about betrayal. Did not you see the signs? Did not you wonder why she was distant? Did not you notice the late nights? As if the betrayal was your fault for trusting someone. When we hung up, I sat in the quiet again. But it felt different now, not hollow, clean. I was not broken. I was not angry. I was rebuilding intentionally piece by piece without the poison. The old version of me might have forgiven her, might have tried to talk it out. Take some share of the blame, play diplomat in a war I did not start. But not this version. This version did not need closure. This version was closure. A week later, I got a letter handwritten. No return address. I knew the handwriting. Emily, it was 3 pages tight cursive. No salutation. Page 1 was justification, her usual tactics. We grew apart. You were distracted. I needed to feel alive. The same phrases she probably pulled from some online article titled, Why Good People Cheat. As if good people do what she did. Page 2 tried sentimentality. She wrote about the first time I held her hand in the rain. The way I used to make her tea before bed. She was weaponizing nostalgia. Hoping memory would soften the edges of her betrayal. Did not. Page 3 was the real Emily. Started with I never thought you'd leave. And ended with you going to regret not forgiving me. No apology. Just the threat of her absence. I folded the pages neatly and slid them back into the envelope. I did not burn it. I did not throw it away. Kept it. Not because I wanted to reread it. But because someday when I tell the story, when someone I care about asks how I became the man I am now, I want to show them the exact moment I stopped needing someone who could write those words and still believe she deserved to be forgiven. Emily did not lose me because she cheated. She lost me because when she was caught, she did not feel caught. She felt inconvenienced. It was raining the next time I saw her. Not poetic rain. Not the cinematic kind that hits like symbolism. Just gray, wet, uncaring rain that soaked you without drama. She did not expect to see me. And to be honest, I did not expect to see her either. I was walking out of the courthouse with a sealed envelope in hand. Finalized divorce decree, no fanfare. She was coming up the stairs. Umbrella tilted too far back. Heels clicking like she still thought the world turned to face her. We locked eyes. She stopped mid-step. The space between us was only 15 feet. But it felt like 2 different lifetimes. I was wearing a black coat. She used to say I looked best in that one. I did not break eye contact. Neither did she. But everything in her expression said she'd prepared 100 conversations for this moment. None of which fit the reality in front of her. I stepped aside. Did not say a word. She spoke first. Of course she did. Mark, like she had any right to say my name that way. Like it still belonged to her. I did not respond. She tried again. You just going to walk away? I looked at the envelope in my hand. Then back at her. I already did. And I walked past her. Down the stairs, through the rain. Did not turn around. I do not know if she followed me with her eyes. I did not care anymore. That moment did not feel like triumph. Felt like completion. It felt like watching a door close behind you so quietly, so finally, that for a second you wonder if it was ever open to begin with. Back home, I laid the decree on the table. Stared at it. Not in sadness. Not in relief. Just stillness. The kind that comes after months of running from noise. The kind that feels earned. My phone buzzed. A new number. The message was short. You really just cut it all off like that? No name. No punctuation. I blocked the number. And for the first time in what felt like years, I opened the windows. Not symbolically. Literally. I opened every window in that apartment. Let the air in. Let the weather in. The realness of it. I let the wind move through the rooms like it was clearing her out molecule by molecule. I found myself smiling. Not because I was healed, but because I was healing without her. That's the part nobody talks about. The betrayal is not the hardest part. It's the echo. The instinct to share a moment. A joke. A story. And then remembering the person you're about to text. That's the one who fractured you. That's the one who looked you in the eye and chose someone else. Repeatedly. Without apology. But eventually the echo fades. You stop reaching for your phone. You stop waiting for answers that will not come. Or if they do, will not matter. Emily became quiet background noise. Still there. But meaningless. What stuck with me was not what she said or even what she did. It was that when she was given the choice to fix what we had or destroy it, she did not hesitate. And I had for too long. The real betrayal was not her affair. It was every second I spent thinking maybe she had a reason. Maybe I was the one who needed to change. Maybe love was enough to overlook a burning house if the front porch still looked nice in photos. But love is not enough. Not when respect is gone. Not when the truth is a tool someone uses against you. Not when the one person who promised to protect your heart treats it like furniture during a move. Scratched. Bumped. Left behind. Replaced. I made a choice that day. Not just to leave, but to never go back. Not in mind. Not in memory. Not in the way people sneak photos of their ex's life online. Emily ceased to exist as someone with power over me. She became what she always was. A performance. And I stopped being the audience. The first time someone asked me if I was single again, it caught me off guard. Not because I had not accepted it, but because I had not worn it yet. It was at a casual get-together. Jonah invited me to nothing special. Just a few people, craft beer, quiet music. That buzz of distant conversation that makes you feel halfway tethered to humanity again. I had not told anyone there what happened. I did not need to. Word had a way of dripping down through mutuals, slow and precise like oil spreading across water. A woman named Rachel sat beside me. Red flannel. Too smart for small talk. She did not ease into it. Just turned her head mid-zip and asked, "So what happened?" I knew what she meant. No context needed. I paused. Then told her. She broke it. I left. She looked at me for a second, studying. No pity in her eyes. Just a small nod. "Good," she said. "Some people stay and rot." And then she changed the subject. Not out of discomfort, but because that one line said everything. I was not the broken man in the story anymore. I was the one who walked out before the rot set in. It did not hit me until I got home that night. I stood in the doorway of my apartment, keys still in hand, and realized I had not thought about Emily for the last 4 hours. Not once. Not in a bitter way. Not even as a ghost. She was not there. Not in my mind. Not in the conversation. Not in the way I laughed. She was finally starting to die out of my system. But the universe, it does not let go that easy. The next morning I got a call from Chloe, our old friend, the one who used to host those overpriced wine nights where everyone pretended their lives were prettier than they were. "Hey," she said cautiously. "So Emily was at Lex's party last night." I did not respond. "She was saying some things about you, about how you disappeared without warning, that she tried to make things work, that you've always had control issues. That was her new script. She pivoted from the affair to painting me as the manipulator. A neat little turn. It let her keep the victim badge while discarding every piece of evidence I'd left behind. Because that's what people like her do. They do not lie directly. They reframe." I asked Chloe what she said in response. She hesitated. I did not say anything. I hung up. Not out of rage. Out of clarity. Emily did not just burn the marriage. She salted the earth so nothing could grow after it. And Chloe, she was just one more coward who watched the fire and took notes on the smoke. I took a walk. Not a dramatic one. Just around the block. No headphones. No distractions. Let the air move around me like time finally catching up. I realized I did not need to fix the story she was telling about me. I needed to outlive it. Because the people who matter, they do not care how many times your name gets dragged through someone else's version of things. They watch what you do after the collapse. They watch if you grow bitter or better. So I stopped checking mutual friends' posts. I deleted the archive folder with all her messages. I erased the name Emily from my phone. Not just the contact, but every saved search. Every email thread. Every cloud-stored photo. Not to forget her, but to remember me. The version of myself before the lies. Before the erosion. Before the slow betrayal I mistook for distance. That man. He was back. Wiser. Sharper. Not harder, but less available to the wrong kinds of people. That night, I slept with the window open again. No ghosts. No echo. Just silence. And for the first time in months, it felt like mine.it was a Thursday when I ran into Daniel. Not by design. Not even somewhere dramatic. A hardware store of all places. I was in aisle 7 looking at light fixtures. He turned the corner holding a pack of batteries and a bucket. We locked eyes for maybe half a second. He froze. I did not. I reached for a bulb. Examined it under the store's stereo lights and said calm his glass. You need a different aisle for shame. His mouth opened. Closed. He took a half step back. Like I might hit him. I did not. He was not worth my rage. He was not even worth the adrenaline. But something in me wanted to speak. Not to him, but into the space between us. The silence that stretched from his first message to my wife. To the collapse of 2 families and the rewriting of 2 lives. So I gave him a sentence. Just one. You were a symptom. Not a cause. He blinked. Mark. I put the bulb in my basket. Save it. He did not follow. He did not defend himself. He did not apologize. Because deep down, Daniel knew the same thing Emily knew. I was not angry anymore. I was finished. And that's the worst kind of enemy. Someone you see ain't not bait back into the ring. Someone who has already walked out of the arena and taken the lights with him. I paid and left. Did not look back. But as I sat in my car, I did one thing I had not done since this whole thing began. I laughed. A quiet, sharp laugh that pushed air out of my chest and pulled something lighter into the space where grief used to live. Not because what happened was funny, but because it was done. This was not my story anymore. It was theirs. Let them twist it. Let them pass it back and forth like a cursed object, trying to make sense of how it all fell apart. Let them argue over who ruined what first, who felt what when, who started the decay. I had nothing left to prove. That weekend I saw Claire again. She de-invited me to a gallery show. A mutual friend of hers had some paintings up. It was one of those sleek, 2 white rooms with abstract pieces and names like Disassociation No. 12. I did not care for the art, but I noticed how Claire carried herself now. Lighter, like she too, had walked out of the fire with her skin still intact. After the second glass of cheap red wine, she said, I've been waiting for him to explain. Has he? She shook her head. Not really. Just excuses. He keeps saying he lost track of what mattered. I sipped my wine. Funny how men like him always lose track of the things they never deserved to hold in the first place. She smiled. And then she said something that stuck. Maybe the affair was not the worst thing. Maybe the worst part was how easily they moved on from the damage they caused. That was it. That was the root. Not the cheating. Not the lies. But the casualness. The fact that Emily slept just fine the night after I vanished. That Daniel showed up to work like nothing had imploded. That their grief was measured only by inconvenience. Not remorse. We stayed at the gallery for 2 hours. Walked out into the night without a plan. She kissed me on the cheek. Not romantic. Just real. I watched her drive away and realized I did not need revenge. I already had something better. Weightlessness. Emily would carry what she did in fragments. Every dinner party where someone whispered. Every sideways glance from people who knew. Daniel would always wonder if his wife actually forgave him or just kept the peace to protect her children. Me? I had peace. Not because I got justice. but because I stopped waiting for it. And started living like it did not matter. 3 months to the day since I walked out of that house. I woke up to a message from a number I did not recognize. It was short. I think you should know she's telling people you hit her. No hello. No context. Just that one sentence. A cold brick tossed through my morning calm. I stared at it for a long time. Not out of shock. Not even fear. Just this quiet, simmering stillness. Like the air before a thunderclap. I'd been ready for a lot rumors, spin, pity games. But this was a new low. I did not respond. I did not need to. The number was not anonymous. It was Lex. One of the friends who used to host those couples' brunches. The one who called Emily her soul twin. Apparently the soul split somewhere along the way. 5 minutes later, Lex sent another message. I did not believe her. I've known you too long. Just thought you should be aware of what she's planting. That word. Planting. Like seeds of rot. Slow-growing lies she could harvest when people stopped asking the right questions. Emily was not trying to ruin me. She was preparing the ground to justify why I'd left her. Why I'd vanished. Why she was the poor, abandoned wife nursing a wound she carved herself. The cheating did not stick. The manipulation did not land. So she moved to character assassination. It was cruel. Calculated. And completely expected. I'd seen the moment it was born. Standing across from her in that kitchen. When she realized I was not going to scream or break. She could not frame me with chaos. So she deframed me with narrative. But here's the thing about storytelling. It works both ways. I went to my lawyer the next day. Told her everything. Showed her the text, the timeline, even the new accusations. She did not blink. Just said, people like her always escalate when they lose control. I asked if I should be worried. She smiled. You've already done the one thing that protects you more than anything else. What's that? You stayed quiet and documented everything. I left her office and drove nowhere. Just turned the ignition and let the wheels take me somewhere without a plan. I ended up at the edge of a lake I had not been to in years. One Emily never liked because there was nothing to do there. No Wi-Fi. No brunch spots. Just a stretch of gray-blue water and trees that did not care who hurt who. I sat on the hood of my car and let the silence wrap around me. I thought about what it meant to be accused of something so far from your truth that defending it feels like dignifying it. I realized I did not know anyone an explanation because people who believe her, they were never really mine. Let her have them. Let her spin her new story until even she forgets where the lie began. Let her become the victim in a play she wrote herself. I had nothing to prove. I had freedom. Later that week, Claire called again. You heard the latest? She asked, voice heavy. Yeah. She told Daniel she was afraid of you. That's why she cheated. That stopped me. Not because it was new. Because it was perfect. That was her masterpiece. Not just rewriting the ending. But the beginning too. She wanted to clean the whole slate. Erase the guilt. Make it a trauma response. If she was afraid of me, then her betrayal was not betrayal. It was survival. It was not deceit. It was escape. I almost admired the audacity. But here's what she did not understand. I was not playing anymore. Not in her script. Not in her performance. I was not the angry ex or the tragic husband or the cruel man she used as a stepping stone towards some false enlightenment. I was out of frame. That's what scared her the most. People like Emily feed on attention. On being centered in the chaos. The worst thing you can do to them is not punish them to stop reacting. And that's what I did. I changed my number, blocked every mutual contact that stayed quiet when she started spreading smoke, moved again, different side of the city, new job, fresh lease, different name on the mailbox, not hiding starting. I stopped checking for her name online, stopped searching for updates. She became a footnote in my story. Caution, a scar with no pain left. And me, I was already somewhere she could not follow. It's been a year now. A full rotation of the sun since the morning I walked out, and never looked back since the kitchen table, since the folder, since the silence that swallowed me whole and spat out someone I barely recognized, but finally respected. People ask me where I went. Some even ask why I disappeared. There's always that word disappeared. Like I was erased instead of reborn. But I did not disappear. I just stopped showing up where I was not seen. There's a quiet coffee shop I go to now. Mornings only, no laptop, no headphones. I sit by the window, sip slowly, and watch life happen without needing to be in it all the time. I see couples walking dogs, friends arguing over pastries, strangers sharing glances that might become something. And I do not feel left out. I do not feel jealous. I feel clean. Claire and I still talk. Not often. But there's a thread of something unspoken there, not romance, something older, wiser, a kind of bond that only comes from surviving the same wreck and climbing out different windows. Daniel's gone. His wife filed, moved 2 states away with the kids. I heard from someone that he tried to reach out to me through a mutual friend. But I never got the message. I would not have answered. There's nothing he could say that would add anything of value to the silence I've curated around me. Emily, I do not know. And here's the twist. I do not want to. I do not care where she is, who she is with, what story she is telling now, whether she is happy, broken, lost or healed, whether she ever admits what she did, whether she even believes she did anything wrong. She is not mine to worry about anymore. She is not mine in any way. People like Emily, they do not leave scars. They leave space, hollow shapes where trust used to live. And you either spend your life trying to fill those shapes with distractions, or you build something new. I built something new. I planted silence, and it gave me peace. I stopped waiting for apologies. I stopped needing to be understood. I stopped defining myself by what I lost. And I started writing again, not about her, about me, about the man who finally saw that loyalty without reciprocity is self-burial. About the man who walked away not in weakness, but in certainty. About the man who disappeared not because he was broken, but because he was finally whole. So if you're rereading this, and you're in the middle of your own collapse, if your hands are shaking, your heart is pounding, and you do not know if walking away will ruin you, hear me now, leaving is not the end. It's the beginning you were never allowed to have. She betrayed me. So I vanished one morning. And no one has seen me since. But I promise you this, I've never been more here.